Hey, beauties.
Hi.
So good to see everyone. Welcome to our Juicy Wednesday session. So happy to have you guys here. Okay, so I'm excited for this call because what inspired it was it was funny. I was having a conversation with a client who was talking about how she was like, oh my gosh, Meg, when this stuff starts to work, like there's a speed at which things start to come. And I was like, yes, this is so perceptive of you. Like this is what when I say we're quantum leaping, this is really the quantum leaping because there is a speed at which magic and miracles start to happen. And so her and I had this conversation, and then I was listening to a podcast, and then they start talking about the speed at which things start happening. And I was like, okay, there's something here. So let's talk about it. So, um, following this theme, pleasure essentially speeds the arrival of your desires because it expands your capacity to hold them. That is kind of the underlining um, frame of today's call. And essentially, what we see is pleasure as expansion, which you've heard me talk about before. But then what we see is like once we start to get into expansion, what starts happening is that expansion becomes capacity. And then as we start to crack into expanding our capacity, what we see is like the speed of manifestation. So, what I'm going to do today is kind of just give you something that is structured so that you can see and break down why this starts to happen, why pleasure is expansion, why expansion is capacity, and why capacity allows for your manifestation rate for magic and miracles. And then, of course, we'll do a little play with it so you can feel it in your body. Okay, so I broke it down today to just five points that we're going to go over. Is there just five? No, probably not. But we're going to talk about these ones kind of as the core because I think it really does encapsulate it. So the first point that I want to bring up is that desire requires capacity, not hustle. For those of you who have been coming to these Wednesday calls, like you probably are really feeling that. We're all trying to do, and what we realize is that we all are deserving of more, that more is always available to us. So it's really, this is where I've said before also that desire are the seeds of manifestation, right? So we want to play with our desires because it's from there that we're planting the seeds for our desires to find us. Well, we also need to play with and understand, and this is where pleasure is really fun in terms of getting us there, is that our nervous systems need to be able to hold what we're calling in. For most of us, our nervous systems can barely hold what we already have.
Anything.
So this is where we want to be able to play with this is allowing our nervous systems to catch up with us. So if you are someone who is like, okay, well, I always get trapped in paralysis. And also this is where I will just say again that pleasure is a discipline. I have been feeling overwhelmed, which leads to me wanting to just be in total paralysis. It feels like exhaustion. Um, I see a lot of my clients who are also saying like, well, I'm too busy. I never have enough time. So all of these things would be if you feel like, ooh, yep, all or any of these things move through my vocabulary, your nervous system needs more pleasure so that it can expand, so that it can hold more. Because we don't want to just stay trapped in barely even being able to hold what we have. You can't hold more until we expand uh, our safety with what we have. Because on the other side of that, it's like have these desires. So, which might sound like I want more visibility, I want more money, I want more intimacy, I want more responsibility. I say that one, and that one might make people freak out. Responsibility. That's a really fun one that I work on with my clients. You want more devotion. So we can't have those things unless our body is soft enough and open enough to receive them. Um, a limiting belief. Like, so again, if you want kind to know, like, is this me? If your body equates more with a threat, we're going to slow it down unconsciously. So if when you think about more, if you feel the contraction in your body, like a ping of, oh God, the overwhelm, any of those things that I listed before, paralysis, exhaustion, excuses, you might be equating more as a threat. So this requires mindset work to be able to shift. I love working with pleasure, but it's not just pleasure that I'm doing with my clients. It's also playing with what are the mindset beliefs that you have that might get in the way and try to sabotage you being able to hold the pleasure. So pleasure works because it expands this window of tolerance. This is why we also, why pleasure is profit, more pleasure, more profit. Pleasure is more pleasure, more capacity. Pleasure is expansion. So just look if you are catching yourself saying, like, once I have more money, then I will, right? Because this is the invitation. Where can you start acting like you already have the thing that you want? So once you can feel good safely, you can hold more safely, which is what I want everyone. I want all of you to be getting what you're calling in. So it's not that you need to manifest faster, you need to just increase your capacity so that you can receive more without bracing. I was thinking about this because I had this instance with a client who there was a misunderstanding. And I didn't know that there was a misunderstanding until she brought it forward. And this is one of the things that I have noticed in my journey with pleasure is I am so much more capable and like actually wanting to sit and have uncomfortable conversations with my clients, with my friends, with my husband. Whereas I can guarantee before I probably would have been bracing, I probably would have been ghosting, I probably would have been disenfranchising and like trying to like just run and avoid having to have any of those conversations. But with this client, it was just like, neither of us knows any of this unless we actually sit down and have a conversation about it. And for me, it's like an indicator of capacity again, right? Do you have the capacity to sit and have the conversation, to lean into the uncomfortable thing? So that is number one. Two, pleasure dissolves constriction. So constriction equals delay, right? When you are tight, when you feel like you are trying to control things in your world, when you are gripping, I know that one's mine when I am in contraction. Oh my God, I like grip, like, no, I need this to be this way. If you're forcing, right, you're just going to collapse the energetic field. It's almost like you can feel things that were coming to you. It's like you actually start to feel like them. It's like a magnetic, like the magnets that come together when you put them in, like they just fall flat. It's like you actually can feel your desires. It's like, nope, your energy is gone. So it like and you'll just start to see like, it's like when your magnetism is on and you're not just getting one miracle, but like all the things start working. When you're in contraction, it's like the same. It's like, wait, all of the things are not working, which is again why pleasure as a discipline is so important, because when all of the things aren't working, you need to have the strength to not crumble and be like, what's going on? How do you hold it so that you can keep moving forward? So we don't want to collapse the energetic field. Pleasure allows you to soften the body. Softness allows circulation. This, like, I always kind of, it's funny, yoga and meditation really was where like the very first thing that opened me to this realm. I would never have known. But with yin yoga, it's like sitting in those long holds. It's like where you drop from the superficial muscle tissues into like the deep muscle tissues where energy gets trapped and locked and stored. And so when you soften, you begin to allow circulation. Pleasure is just a way more fun way of doing this. We could sit for an hour in these yoga poses, but pleasure is so much more fun. Not that that isn't either, but one form of pleasure for another. And so once we allow circulation to start happening, this will increase the flow. So this, from a nervous system perspective, means that pleasure signals safety. Safety increases openness. Openness increases opportunity, recognition. It's like when we take off the blue colored lenses and put on the pink, right? It's like whatever frequency we're in determines what we're actually seeing that's right here in front of our eyes. It actually literally impacts our perception. So you will perceive more options when you drop into that open, soft frequency. Also, what I want everyone, I want you all to see all of the opportunities that are coming to you. Okay, 3. Pleasure regulates your relationship with time. This is also where this came up in the conversation with clients, because it was actually a call with 2 clients who both of their stories are, I don't have enough time. So quantum leaping is not about bending time. It is merely about exiting survival time. Because when we are in survival time, again, everything feels urgent. You're actually going to feel like you're moving fast. So you feel physically like you're fast, but things are actually happening very slow. You grasp, you chase, you rush. You feel this is where that decision exhaustion comes in, or decision overwhelm. It's like you have a million decisions to make, and it's like, oh my God, I have 30 decisions to make and I can't even make one. What am I going to do? And in that, everything starts to feel limited. So that is survival time. We don't want to live there. If this is like a signal and you're like, shoot, I think that she's talking about me. Great. Now we have awareness. And when we have awareness, it means we can do something about it. And really it's just shifting a frequency and sensation in your body. So when we play with pleasure, and just like taking a luxurious breath for a second. Pleasure allows us to relax. It allows us to begin to trust. And actually that's huge, because when it comes to manifestation, it's also tied with our beliefs. And so play with this. How many beliefs do you have right now that you're telling yourself where the manifestations are coming? Because you will get what you tell yourself. So trust is huge. So being able to soften into trust that everything is coming to you, that everything is working out for you. We want to get there, instead of going, I don't know if this is working. Why isn't this happened yet? Should I do this or should I do that? This thing isn't working. Maybe I should switch, right? This really is just a trust. This is just a trust issue. So pleasure allows us to drop into deeper self-trust. And in all of that, your system widens, because you're no longer gripping to a timeline. And if you're gripping to a timeline, it means that you are in some form of resistance to what is. And if you are in resistance to what is, then you are repelling what is trying to come to you. So actually just do this for a second. Everybody just like grip in their body, like tense up. Okay. Everything stiffens. It's like freezes. Movement restricts, right? So if you can like feel in that tension when we grip, like it's like the space, right? And then let go. And it's kind of like that, feel like you can kind of feel your body like melting like butter, right? It's like literally you can feel your body melt when you let go of gripping. So when you're contracted, so you can almost feel it's like your cells actually shrink. So where is the space for more to come to you? And this is the fun thing, like this is how easy it can be, right? Like you just need to be able to catch your awareness and do one thing. It's just starting with one thing to be able to soften and shift. Like think of if you have as an entrepreneur, say you have an offer or a program or something and you're about to go have a conversation with someone, if you just did that, like tense and then soften before sending them a message, one easy little shift that will energetically change the frequency of the message you're about to send them. I mean, and then you can add on multiple higher levels of pleasure and just imagine what that would do. Okay, so the key line in this one is that desperation slows things down, capacity speeds them up. Okay, and 4. So expansion is, some of you might not like this one. Expansion is about holding intensity. So I say some of you might not like this because this one is very edgy, right? There's like, I've had clients who are just like, listen, I'm not here because I want to experience discomfort. And I'm sorry, but we're going to be faced with discomfort. I think about, so I've never flown first class. Um, I just, I don't know. I mean, I absolutely will. One day I would love to, but I don't know. I haven't bought into it yet. Um, I can't wait to just to share whatever story buys me into it. But I also know that because I've never done it, I'm like, there is fear, a little bit of like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna like walk onto the plane and sit down in my like first class seat and just, like act like, I don't know, there is clearly discomfort for me about getting onto an airplane and getting to sit in a first class seat. Like, and I think like one of those really fancy ones, like I picture like I could walk onto one that's just like the bigger seats, but the ones that are like the fancy cubicles and things like that, like I wouldn't even know what to do with the features in those first class sections. So for me, it's not that I don't want one, but it's going to be for the day that I do book it, it's going to be uncomfortable. Again, another thing, because I live in the middle of nowhere, I'm rarely in the cities, but the day that I walk into like a Gucci or like Prada store, that's going to be uncomfortable. I can picture myself reaching for the door handle and being like, not today. So this is such a great, like I'm sharing this because this is a reflection of some of our desires. Like if we are holding big desires, there's just innately discomfort that we're going to have to experience to get to them. And this is, I've had my mentor had talked about when she first went and bought her first Gucci purse. And she was like, oh my God, I felt so uncomfortable, like to ask them, who am I to ask? Can you please show me this product? Like she was terrified. And I get it. I'm like, yeah, I will be right there. And so this is where there is discomfort in going after our desires. How are we going to hold it, right? How are we going to hold ourselves through that intensity? If you've ever gone to like a really, really fancy restaurant, sometimes you might have that feeling of like, it's like a 5-star Michelin and it's like, or sometimes resorts and it's like, wait, am I allowed to go into that section? Like, it's like, we wonder, it's like kind of comes down to, do I belong? And I know that's one of my things too, is the feeling of belonging or deserving. And so how do you move through the intensity and actually allow yourself to be in those spaces, to be in those places? Because business wise, more money does mean more responsibility. I think of the babes who just came through kinky business. And this was right at the very beginning. The very first module we go through is money mindset. And they were all like, oh, I hate responsibility. Ew, commitment. And it was like, oh, we're going to have to work on this, you guys. What do you mean you don't want responsibility and commitment? Like, you guys are CEO babes. And so more money doesn't mean things are going to get easier. The more that we call in, it means there's more intensity, more visibility means more projections at us. More love means we have to offer more vulnerability. But pleasure trains your nervous system to stay open inside intensity. I feel like I need to repeat that one. Pleasure trains your nervous system to stay open inside intensity. And like that is the definition of capacity. This is what pleasure will allow us to do, is to be able to withstand high intensity events. I actually, a great example to go with this one was when I got the stomach bug in January, and I had to make decisions. And one was to reschedule my Toronto event, which I followed my intuition on, and I even had to kind of fight with the person that I was co-leading with because they did not want to cancel it. So I had to stand my ground and flirt to be able to say, listen, I promise this actually is a good thing, not a bad thing, which ended up being true because we did get 10 more people to the event. And then the next one was so after I had been barfing up all night for 7 hours, of course, the next day was my most busy work day, and I had 3 calls. And one was in the morning, and I thought, do I cancel it? And it was right after holidays. So we just had a 2-week break, and I was like, I don't want to reschedule this one. And so I had to check in, and I was like, what is in my pleasure? And I was like, I actually want to see everyone. So then it was like, how do I do this in a way that I can handle? And so I kept the call on. I didn't go through I didn't keep to the curriculum. I was like, you know what? The Rose Codes is like my Magdalene priestess initiation. And thought we're just going to do like a Q&A. Come and just ask me all of your questions about Mary Magdalene. And it ended up being the juiciest call. Everyone was like, whoa, this was so fun. I'm so excited that we got to do this. So it ended up being like this really awesome bonus call that totally lit everybody up and dropped them deeper into connection with their own inner priestess. So I would not have been able, in the past, I for sure wouldn't have been able to show up for that call. But and pleasure literally guided my decision. I was like, that was the question. What is in my pleasure? Well, I don't want to reschedule the call. And then and I literally showed up in the clothes that I had been in all night when I was sick. And I put this is just like a fun little hair clip. And I was like, great. Did the call from bed. It all worked. So that was such a great example for me of how I was able to do that because I've trained my nervous system to hold intensity, and it didn't feel crazy to be able to show up for those calls that day. Meanwhile, I know other coaches, who for sure would have canceled, or me in the past where I would have canceled. So if you can breathe through pleasure, you're going to be able to breathe through success as it comes to you. Most people will collapse at the edge of expansion because it's uncomfortable. But pleasure, as it builds capacity, it also builds stamina. So this is the 4th point at which we will play with. Okay, and the last one is, so number 5 is pleasure is just a rehearsal for receiving. Again, why it's so fun. If you can remember this and bring that into like, pleasure's already fun to do, but when you're like, wait, oh, I'm doing this because I'm actually gonna, right. This is just my practice for receiving. So when you consciously let yourself feel good, slow down, be adorned, when you let yourself receive touch, when you let yourself experience beauty, You are literally practicing receiving without earning. I say this, that one piece is really, really integral here because, again, if you are someone who often thinks, well, I have to do something to earn it. This is also, I think of clients who will say things like, well, once I start making money, then da 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 da. This is a really great example if you're still stuck in this limited belief that you're only deserving of it once you have done something to earn it, to deserve it, once you've proved that you deserve it. So just dropping into the practice yourself starts to rewire that capacity. And we want to shift. And the invitation again, and I, or one of the lines that I will often use with this is the goddess really loves for us to show her that we are willing to leap before the thing. Like there's nothing that turns her on more than someone acting on trust or faith that she's got them. It's like that trust fall. She really loves the trust fall. And there's another piece in this too, in that when you allow, so the homework again with this is, if you are in abundance, like don't do it if you're in scarcity and don't have the finances, or if you're already in debt or you'd have to rack up your credit cards, don't do that. But if you have the abundance but you feel like you're in scarcity and you're avoiding booking yourself the trips, or you're avoiding the big Gucci bag purchase, or if you're avoiding I don't know, some kind of a celebration gift, or maybe you're avoiding taking yourself out to like the really great restaurant. You're avoiding letting yourself get like, I don't know, something special from the grocery store, even like so that you can have the meal that you would way prefer than this thing, right? So it's like actually treating yourself and letting yourself have the thing that you want. So because you deserve it. And there's an energy behind this that I also find really interesting, because again, another story. I can remember in February 2024, and my family, February 2024, I was not able to I defaulted on my final payment for Regina's PLM container, and I do not default on payments. And so, but it was tight. Like my financial situation was tight. And then came March, and March break came along, and I had been able to make the payment for March. So I had defaulted February, made it March. And then we were like, we should go to Montreal for the weekend. Let's do a family weekend for March break, just the weekend. We weren't thinking we could do a whole week. And we did the math, and it was going to be something like $1,500. And then this like thought struck my mind, and I was like, well, my parents are down in Florida and they had invited us. And I was like, if we're willing to spend $1,500 to go to cold Montreal for a weekend, like what would tickets to Florida be? Because we have a place to stay. And it's like, where would we rather be? Florida. And the tickets were basically the same thing. So we were like, you know what? We were just going to spend it. Let's do it. Let's go to Florida. And there's something in just allowing yourself to do the thing, because there was still scarcity. I didn't feel like the abundance that I was calling in was still hitting. And I thought, no, but we were going to do it. So we're going to do this. And while I was in Florida, like this is where the magic and miracle starts to happen. I had made a decision that aligned with my abundance frequency. I was like, we could have done Montreal, but it was more in my pleasure. And it felt really juicy to unexpectedly and spontaneously like make this shift. And while I was in Florida, I was launching a new program, and I had two So the program ended up having like, I don't know, 10, between 10 and 15 women. And I had two, I think it was two new one-to-one clients. That ended up being a 75K month in sales. And I share this because there's something in the energetics. Like we can't know, like there is something bigger than us that's always at play. And sometimes they need us to make the decision that terrifies us because there's some kind of an impetus behind it, right? Like it sparks something. Would I have made those invitations to the one-to-one clients had I not been in the frequency of like, I'm the person who spontaneously takes the family to Florida because we can, right? So, or again, my coach, like she was in scare. That was actually her homework. She was in scarcity. And so it was like, go, your homework is to spend as much money as you can this month. And because that felt uncomfortable for her, she had the capacity to do it. So she was like, well, what are all the things that I want? So she took herself on a date. She lived in Paris. She flew herself to Milan, took herself into the Gucci store, like did all the things that she wanted for one day in Milan. And then she got into this new frequency. And then it's like she had the same thing. And this was like back in 2020, might even have been 2019. And then the next month after she had made those shifts, she was like, wait, I can't sit around and like dilly dally. Like I need to be selling things. Like I just spent so much more than I usually would. I can't just keep sitting on my butt. Like I have to open my mouth and talk to people. And she filled out all of her one-to-ones and had like also for her one of her highest sales months. And then they've just for her, gone up from there. So the lesson behind this is how do we get to move through the discomfort, right? Because sometimes the goddess is watching and she's like, but I need you to do this thing if you're going to get like the bump, the hit, the message to act on getting this desire. Like sometimes it's part of getting us to the things that we want. So, desire doesn't land in a body that only knows how to strive, right? It lands in a body that knows how to receive. Pleasure trains our body. It is just rehearsal for us to receive. So pleasure is not indulgence. It is rehearsal. I know everyone here knows that it's not indulgence, but just to reiterate in case that ever creeps into your mind. Okay. Any questions around those? Okay, great. Let's just play with it first.
Can I, well, yes, I have a question.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Katie. Hi, Katie.
Oh, well, they're always all, because for me, certain things are completely back to front.
Yeah.
And I, if I was to go to a lovely restaurant or I was going to go to I wouldn't have a problem with going business class or going to a nice restaurant, but I do have a problem receiving pleasure.
Mm,
So I struggle because if I am to self pleasure or attempt to self pleasure, that is very, very constricting and almost feels like I'm not allowed to enjoy that. Whereas I can enjoy other aspects of
right.
life that is kind.
Yeah.
So help, please.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you're really good at receiving like the pleasures of life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't overdo it. I mean, it's not like over the top, but I was in the situation when I went to New Zealand, for example. I went business class, which
Yeah.
was extraordinary. It was overwhelming, but I was actually very happy to receive that.
Right.
But if I was to allow my self pleasure or to do something very simple like that is unbelievably difficult. So
Right.
it doesn't make sense.
So the thing that comes up with me here that I like that you said with so this example of business class is really great because it's like I chose to go business class because I knew that it would it provided you some kind of a convenience or pleasure versus flying economy. Like there was something that made sense, which made you feel, I'm actually really happy to let myself have this,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So this is such a great example because it is this, this is kind of a combo of a few of these. This is a practice of rehearsal for receiving, but it also, uh, in that instance, it dissolved constriction
Mm.
also, right? Because you actually saw the business class as a solution to discomfort.
Well, it was my son actually said, "Look, Mum, if you're going to come, let's do this." And I was actually very, very happy to do that.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, so that's fine. If we
Right.
were able to do it, that's fine. But something that costs nothing, which is to self pleasure, that it's just, how can I find that fun or pleasurable? Because it's a relief
Yeah.
to do so, but it's not. I can't allow fun, or somehow there's a block to the fun pleasure bit.
Yeah. Which I would guess is tied to the nervous system or safety because there's something or a belief because there's what I'm seeing in the flight is there was a belief that was like this makes sense. There's something in your belief system with pleasure that's saying, well, this doesn't make sense.
Mm.
What, which, so I would want to get to the root of what is the unconscious belief
Yeah,
that's
not
running
managed
in
that
the
yet.
background,
Not
which is
worked that one out yet.
okay. Which might surface. And so also your nervous system might be like, wait, if we actually, if you actually allow yourself to explore pleasure, the awareness might surface. And so that's probably playing on top of it because it's like, well, wait, we don't want you to figure that out because if you figure it out, you're going to actually have more safety in allowing yourself it. But I mean, the best way to start it is just start small, small increments. One of the things that I like simple homework that I give to just get so if there's like for you who feels I'm not oriented to pleasure yet, it doesn't feel 100% safe in my body, is just to set a timer on your phone. If you really want to be devoted to it, I would set it for like every hour. You could do it like just set it for 4 times a day. But when the alarm goes off, it's just bringing hand down to pussy and pausing for a second to connect. And it's just like, you'd call and say, hey, friend, I just wanted to let you know I'm here. It's kind of like you're just doing that with pussy. So just hand over her, bring your eyes closed and just like, oh, hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm here. I'm thinking of you and just checking in. How are you doing?
Right,
But
every
like,
hour is going to be quite an interesting. Yeah, never even thought about doing that every hour.
yeah,
So it's quite
I, I,
that'll
I would
stretch me.
really, I would really like suggest do it every hour because the thing too is she communicates to you, right?
Okay.
Because she might be, you might check in and she might like piss off, Katie. Like, like it might be like, why are you, don't talk to me. Um, so it's funny to actually like pause and listen, but she might also be like, oh, wow, I'm so grateful you just like paused with me for a second. So it's really interesting when you do it every hour because just to hear what is the
Okay.
feedback that you get.
All right.
So hope there's some homework. And for anyone else who wants to play with that.
I
And
I would love to.
I was just gonna say your giggles, Katie, tell me that's perfect homework. So Alexiana.
I would love to bring something forward. It's been a crazy day in like the best possible sense. Um, like just today, I got invited to be a speaker in a event for a studio in Colorado. It's virtual. And like I had this like actress with millions of followers just call me and be like, "How can I help?" Because someone because someone gave her my number and be like and was like, help her. She's a musician and she's good."
Oh my God.
And she literally just called me. I saw her photo. I'm like, Sigrid? Like, because she's really famous here in Chile. And she's like, yeah, it's me. So this person gave me my, I'm like, what the fuck? Um, I had a, um, I had a call with someone that's worth almost $1 billion to pitch them my program, and they said no, but they put me in touch with some people, and we kind of stayed. He's in my orbit, which feels huge already. And this is all just within today. I got selected to like pre-selected to be in a commercial. I haven't gotten it yet, but it was the first time getting a call back for like commercial work. And this is all just today, and I feel my nervous system completely out of whack.
Yeah.
And I want to keep up this momentum because I've been building it. And it's been like this, things like this have started to happen. And so more and more every single day. And so
Yeah.
I feel like it's just momentum building up. But I feel so much tension in my body and my jaw and my neck. And so I guess I just like when we're already like the ball is rolling, it's going well, it's expanding.
Yeah. You
What
want to hold
how
you
do
want to
I keep
hold the
it? Yeah,
frequency and not collapse. Having this
exactly.
expanders are the best thing to do when you feel like, because this is such a great, I love this one, Luxiana. Also, I'm celebrating you so big. And just for
Thank you.
everyone, like Luxiana is such a great example of like doing the work, taking the actions, like she has puts herself out and like tries everything, which just all of these connections. This is exactly how it works. So I'm so happy for you. Um, but you want to just keep digesting because it's like when all of the good things start coming to us, it can start to feel really full, even though it's all really good things. So you just want to keep digesting. If you can find someone, if anyone here wants to just be like a buddy for Lexiana, as all of this stuff is just like slinging her way, um, where you can just send like once a day or twice a day, like in the morning and at night, just send a list of, oh my God, here are all my brags, just so that you're like moving all of the goodness. So
Mm, I
brags,
love that.
also going through, it could be brags or it could be, maybe that would be the best practice, brags in the morning and then a list of your gratitudes in the evening, just so that you're moving it, because otherwise it's like you start to carry all of it up here, which is again, we don't want to be up in our head. So just being able to like process and keep everything moving. I would do just some pussy stroking, uh again without intention of like getting to orgasm, but just like pussy stroking to mess, just to like just get her
Mm.
excited and hold the energy of those desires, and which more desires. The
Yeah.
other thing that starts to happen, because here your rose colored glasses are on, right? So it's like you've been doing the work, now you're the goddess, the universe is responding to you, and as it's responding, new desires are literally probably forming at the same time. So stroking for those desires, like, okay, so this person didn't sign with me, but like, okay, I'm talking to these three people. Like, how can you hold it so that those things can keep? So I would just play with like pairing your desires to just like the two essence. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wait, can you say that last piece again? Pairing my desires to what?
pairing your desires with the two essence, and two essence just means turn on. So like
Oh,
just
okay.
the turn on that you can cultivate in pussy just from, I mean, hand over pussy, stroking, whatever works. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I love like yeah, if someone wants to like have those conversations with me, I'd love that. Because I've been like making a lot of lists and doing all my affirmations in the morning, doing my celebration lists and stuff. But
Yeah.
always super open to like have actual mirror and like and also hear back from someone in that way. That would be super cool.
So
But
good.
I think the key here is like what you said is like I love that word digesting.
Yeah.
because it all
Yeah.
feels like
You just
stuck up
want to
here. So just
keep,
like,
it's like keep the movement. Yeah. Like let everything come in and just like move it all out. So yeah, you're not just carrying it all. Um, that's so
yeah,
core. And sometimes we think we need to digest when we're just like, it's easy to remember to digest when rupture is hitting, but sometimes when things are really good, we forget that we need to do it with the good things also. So yeah,
yeah. Thank
so
you.
great. Also, and you can also drop those brags and gratitudes in the Modern Priestess thread if you want more eyes to witness you.
Yeah,
I would say drop them in there too.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Kaya and Laura, if you guys have things, can you drop it in the thread or either in the Modern Priestess thread so I can get to them? Um, we're just going to do, let's do one little practice before we drop out. Um, just playing with the capacity. This is very similar to what we did, um, the holding the tension and releasing. But it's kind of like what I was saying to Lexiana, pairing it with our desires. So I'm going to put a song on in the background quietly. And just letting yourself sit upright as you just let yourself land in your body.
I breathe in safety. I breathe out fear.
And just begin to connect with your
Floor
breath.
is cold, the room is still. My hand on my
Letting yourself feel
stomach.
present in
It
this moment.
moves then disappears.
And from
I
here, just
can't
bringing one
help
desire. So internally,
feeling it
name
when
one
the
desire that feels
pain slips
slightly
out
stretchy.
of reach. I can
And just
feel
notice what happens in
it
your body.
not yet, but I
Is there tightness?
try just to keep breathing. For a
Is there breath
moment I'm
constriction?
here, and that has to mean something.
Do you feel
The
collapse?
weight crawls slowly across the wall. Time doesn't
And from
move
here, I
my
invite just
way.
one small pleasure input. And
Everything
it
I
might be
was is
bringing pleasure to that
quiet
place in your body.
now.
It could be hand on heart
Everything I am just
or
wants to
just a slow
rest.
exhale.
No promises, no
It could be a
prayer,
gentle neck stroke,
just
a roll into the
breathe
hips.
and wait.
It might be a sound,
Say it quiet to yourself. I breathe in
just
courage.
regulation and
I breathe
sensation.
out doubt. Maybe that's enough.
Okay, now again, hold the desire in your
Maybe
mind
that's all it ever
while you are consciously staying soft. And just notice, is there more space? Is there less contraction? Do you feel maybe some form of neutrality? So this is just a very easy, gentle touch in to play with your capacity of feeling good while holding desires that might feel stretchy. So this is just a very gentle way to be able to play with what capacity begins to feel like in your body. Okay. And let's just pop some frames in the thread. We can share what you noticed, what you felt. And use this practice whenever you can. Again, just another really easy micro practice. 3 minutes max. Okay. And then I also just wanted to share, so as you guys are writing those frames in, so if you enjoyed this, if this chat brought up moments of like, I think she's talking about me, or if you feel like it's like a tease for more, if you're longing for more of the embodiment, more playtime, like actually getting to do more of the turn on, come join me in the Erotic Temple, which runs every week on Thursdays. It's a half hour. This is your pleasure playground where you come for your weekly dose of pleasure. So we're not doing any theory. We're not talking. We're just dropping in and going into pleasure. It's really, really juicy. I promise you that it's better than your daily latte or weekly latte, whatever. So I will share the link if you want to take a peek and be there. It's really fun. And the other thing I want to share with you is I also have a 3-month container coming up called Sacred Seductress. And this space is for babes who want to really learn, really embody the art of pleasure or pleasure as a discipline. So this is a space where you can come to deepen your toolkit, to be accountable to your turn on, and to literally expand your capacity. So this is where in that 3 months, we're going to be in a space together where we really get to begin to witness the magic and miracles that happen when a woman says yes to being in devotion to her turn on. So if that feels like, yes, I want that space in my life. Also, if you have like questions about how do I connect with my femininity? How do I connect more to my turn on? What do I do? There's this situation. There's more of like the hot seat coaching where you can actually bring things to actually where we can actually apply pleasure practices to what's happening for you. So Sacred Seductress is a great place to come if you want that more kind of one-to-one support. And yes, thank you, Katie, for asking me to do that. I absolutely will. So Sacred Seductress starts the beginning of March. So 3 to 4 weeks from now, but that'll put us in March. And the Erotic Temple is just ongoing. So if at any point you were like, I want to play more, you can just come and join Erotic Temple at any point. We will always be there. Okay, goddesses, this was so great. In the thread, share any reflections, any aha moments, any places where you want to be witnessed. And also, if you want anything specifically covered on any of these weekly trainings, drop that in the thread. I love creating these in response to your desires. So put those in the Modern Priestess thread, or if you're in the Sister Goddesses groups, there is perfect also. And it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much, babes, for coming today. You guys make Wednesdays the best, and I will see you guys next week.
Thanks, Meg.
You're welcome. Bye, goddesses.